So, who is best suited to help you achieve financial freedom? I've said it before and I will say it again. It is absolutely you. You have the most to gain and the most to lose by either taking an interest in your financial future or by not taking an interest in your financial future. And while you can leverage the resources of financial professionals to help you get to a place or the destination that is financial freedom, the journey ultimately begins and ends with you. The fun part of financial freedom is taking the time to determine for yourself what the ideal retirement, and when I say retirement, what I'm saying is when you are able to recapture the 40, 50, 60, 70 plus hours per week that you dedicate in exchange for income, when you're able to recapture and repurpose that time, how are you going to leverage that time? It is now yours because your expenses are now covered by the passive income created through asset investment. So, what does this look like? In an ideal world, how would you spend your time? What activities? What experiences? What places would you be going? What kind of food would you be eating? What people would you be spending time with? How are you going to spend this free time that you have now recaptured and repurposed? That is where you use your creative mind to sit down and really flesh out the details of what that lifestyle looks like for you. Naturally, life has expenses. To do the things that you want to do, to live life, there is an expense associated with it. What's important, though, is that we have some sort of estimate around what those expenses will look like so that we can continue to enjoy those activities and those experiences well into the future after we have reached financial freedom. And this is going to be a determining factor in how much we need to invest today to reach that threshold of financial freedom. So, depending upon what activities, what experiences, how much travel, where you live, what you do while you're there, depending on all of those inputs, there is going to be a cost associated with living that type of lifestyle. And all we want to do is determine with somewhat relative accuracy how much it is going to cost us to support that type of lifestyle. Once we've determined how much passive income is required to support that type of lifestyle, we can begin to drill down and determine how much time is required or will be required for us to acquire the assets that generate that passive income. In other words, you're not going to buy an asset tomorrow that is going to generate the passive income required for you to live your ideal lifestyle. So there is a process in which you begin to leverage any excess income that is saved, that can be invested, that gradually and progressively builds the passive income that you are looking for. So, quick example. Let's say that you're deciding that multifamily real estate is your investment asset class. And let's determine, just for the sake of numbers, that for every unit you purchase, that unit will create $100 in passive after expense income for you. Now, let's say that your big picture ideal financial freedom lifestyle requires $4,000 in monthly after expense passive income. Well, if every unit generates $100, you're going to need 40 units to create $4,000 in passive income. And so you can begin to develop a strategy and a plan around how many units to acquire a year based on the market that you're investing in. How much are those units? You might buy a duplex that has 2 units. You might buy a triplex that has 3. You might buy a quad that has 4. So you can begin to strategize and craft a plan that will build out a pathway toward financial freedom through passive income. So how do we begin to create the ideal lifestyle that we want by leveraging passive income to arrive at financial freedom? Well, the first step is that we have to begin to educate ourselves in the language of money. There are 2 phenomenal resources that are free and available to everyone. The first is the internet. The internet has a wealth of resources available at the stroke of a key. I would personally recommend Bigger Pockets podcast. You can Google Bigger Pockets. Investopedia.com, just like the name sounds, it's an investment encyclopedia. It has a wonderful, wonderful series of animated videos that break down into very simple terminology, business and money concepts. And then you can also check out my website, employyourmoney.com. In addition, although recently off limits due to the pandemic, we all have access to a public library where you have a wealth, again, of books that have been written on the subject of money, of business, of wealth, of financial freedom. Several books that I would recommend to begin your journey are Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, Set for Life by Scott Trench, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. Now, these books can also be purchased on Amazon, and I will leave a link in the description below where you can access this material and look into it for yourself. But I would recommend all of these resources to begin the process to educate yourself and to increase your financial IQ. In the process of doing that, you must also examine your cash flow. So you must examine what money is leaving your household every month versus what is coming in. This is a very important step, and this is foundational to building and creating discretionary income that can then be leveraged into assets. So we must begin to examine our cash flow. What money is going out of our household every month versus what is coming in. Now, when you do this, you're going to find yourself in one of 3 places. The most ideal place is going to be where your inflows, or the amount of money that comes into your household every month, exceeds the amount that flows out. That is the best position to be in. That is ideal. The second position that you can find yourself in, which is less ideal, is where your income and your expenses are identical, where the amount of money that flows out is identical to what is flowing in, which means that you are not saving any money, but you are also not incurring any debt. And then the third and the least favorable position that you can find yourself in when examining your cash flows is where your expenses exceed your income, which means that you are living a lifestyle that exceeds the income that you are bringing in every month, that you are literally living on credit. You are living on someone else's dollar, borrowed money, to cover the expenses that your household incurs every month. So we want to get to a place where we get to position one, where we are bringing in more money every month than we are spending. And then when we get to that place, we want to then further study, examine, and critique our expenses so that we can increase the delta between what is coming in and what is flowing out.